Hello guys, and welcome back to my argumentative series where I'm talking about how to be successful in arguments, how to win debates, all the like. And today I have two extremely useful topics. My last video was kind of a brief overview. Now I'm getting into the nitty-gritty stuff that is extremely easy to apply, some things that you should know. Some of the stuff might be really new to you, and that's really good because it'll be eye-opening to you, and you'll probably realize how many times this stuff has been used against you. You'll recognize how it's been used in conversation, and it'll be eye-opening to you, so that's really cool. So the first thing that I want to talk about is a statement that is used a lot, extremely often in conversation when you're talking about a point that might be sort of controversial. This statement is sort of used as a euphemism. So if you want to avoid using statements that might be offensive to people, you can use things like this. People use things like this. People, very glittering generalization, but people use things like this, and you can identify this as the opponent, understand what they're actually saying, and counter. So this very blanket statement that people use that you can identify is, I don't want to say blank, but blank. So I'll give you an example of this. So they'd probably be saying well, I don't want to say he was evil, but he wasn't a very nice man. You know what I mean? So it's a euphemism. You say instead, well, he didn't die, but he's not dead, but he's deceased. It's a euphemism. You use it to avoid offending people. It's used in that sense. So let's say, the previous example. I don't want to say he was evil, but he wasn't a very nice man. So if the person says, I don't want to say blank, but blank, whatever comes in the second blank whatever they say in the first blank is what they actually mean to say. So let me repeat that. If the person says, I don't want to say evil, but he wasn't a very nice man, they actually mean to say he was evil. So I know what you might be thinking. Well, how can I use this? How can I use this to my advantage? Well, as I said in the previous video, in arguments, knowledge is power. You want to know what your opponent is thinking. So it might not be necessarily that you can say, oh, you said this, now I say this and I win the argument, but you now have a complete understanding of what your opponent is thinking. So when you see this, you can use this to identify sort of what your opponent is really trying to say, and you can see that he may be trying to ease in an issue to his audience if this is a structured debate with an audience. But that is something that's great to use, but I want to get into the second point that I have, because this is a really good one. This one is a informal argumentative fallacy, and it is known as correlation proves causation. Now, this is used so much in modern day society. You'll see the news using this, you'll see people using this, everyone uses this, okay? And if you are aware of this, you can, in formal argumentative structure, you can employ this tactic, and whatever the person has said that applies to this tactic is false, no matter what it is, which is amazing, because if a person proves a point that contradicts this correlation proves causation, you can employ this tactic and you have disproved their point without having to do anything. So let me get into this and let me explain this. Correlation proves causation is basically a faulty assumption that correlation between two variables implies that one causes the other. So, it's basically like saying when Call of Duty was released, there were 10,000 murders, so Call of Duty must have caused an increase in murders. And I hope that when you're hearing this, it's triggering things in your mind, and you're saying, "Oh, I've heard people using this before, and this is ringing a bell to me." And now, in an argument, if someone says that, all you have to do is say, "Oh, you're using an argumentative fallacy. Correlation does not prove causation. So, that point is false." And that's all you have to say. You're done. You have successfully refuted that point. You have won that battle of the overall argument. So, correlation proves causation is an extremely it's a point that is used a lot in modern day society by media, people in everyday conversation. So you can just contradict those points extremely easily by employing that tactic. So once again, correlation proves causation. A faulty assumption that correlation between two variables implies that one causes the other. And again, the example, Call of Duty was released, and in the same day that Call of Duty was released, there were 10,000 murders, so Call of Duty must have caused those 10,000 murders. So yeah, if you have any example that is like that in an argument or debate, employ that tactic and you've won the battle. So very, very useful. Next episode, I will be talking about more of these argumentative fallacies. There are so many, and they're used so much in conversation. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and subscribe because I'm going to be putting out tons of videos like this. So if you watch all of them, you should be an argumentative master, and you'll be able to destroy anyone you want in a debate. So it'll be cool. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.